Next challenge in the book challenge I'm doing was to read a book you can read in a day. And this was going to be quite a challenge because I'm a very, very slow reader. It's not that I don't... Okay, part of it is because I don't actually give myself as much time to read as I'd like, because I tend to only read at work and in the bath, and when I'm waiting for things and blah, blah, blah. But I just don't read fast. I just don't... I mean, some people seem to be able to read a whole, like, proper thick book, proper novel in a whole day, and I don't know how they do that. So whatever book I was going to pick was going to have to be something pretty small. And the book I chose was The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is actually a novella. And as you can see, it is a very small book. But I knew this was the only book I'd be able to read in a day. And it said book, didn't say novel, it said book, so this counts. What to say about it? The weird thing is, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is like one of those characters that is so... It's a classic horror character. You know, they reference the character in various different film and TV. They've even had him pop up in things like Van Helsing and an animated thing called The Page Master, I remember. And all things, and even someone like the Incredible Hulk is sort of... You get the idea of without Jekyll and Hyde, you wouldn't have had the Hulk or whatever. But yeah, when you actually, it was like, I don't actually know the story. I mean, I know the basics, a mad scientist who drinks a formula and he turns into a sort of deformed creature of evil. I knew that, but the actual story, the plot itself, no idea. I didn't even know that it's written by somebody else's point of view. Some lawyer called Utterson. Yeah, I didn't know it was from his point of view, essentially, and it is the first, well, most of it, to start with. And it's got a good flow, because the way that it's sort of revealed about what's going on with Jekyll, I mean, the fact that you meet Hyde first, and then you see Jekyll, and you don't really learn too much about him, I guess. Everything is very much kept from the interpretation of this of a couple of characters. And then it's sort of revealed more. And then the whole last 2 chapters, one of them is from a letter of another character's interpretation of what's happening, so it'll give you an idea of what's been happening from a different character's point of view. And then you've got a whole bit at the end which is Jekyll and Hyde's, Dr. Jekyll's interpretation. So he explains basically everything that you don't know, everything you've sort of had to work out, so everything is explained at the end. And it's quite an interesting, like I said, it's an interesting way of showing it, because it keeps a mystery of what's going on, so you don't know who this Hyde character is, or if there is any connection, or what his connection to Jekyll is, and you don't realise it's the same person. I mean, of course, unfortunately, knowing the character, because it's such a popular cultural icon, so that spoils it a bit. I mean, even the back explains it and spoils it. So but the way that it's unravelled is still really well done. And the only thing I sort of have a problem is, and what I suppose I struggle is the fact that it's a Victorian novel. So Victorian novels, old novels, they have a different way of writing. It's a different kind of flow, the narrative, so it is very hard sometimes to read, because you have to sort of pay attention more to what you're reading to understand, which is why I don't read a lot of classics. But this one was actually, I was able to understand what was going on. And I think the actual sort of idea behind it, the sort of, I don't want to say moral, but what it was trying to show was the sort of idea that we've all got sort of an evil side to us, or a not very nice, immoral side of us. And it's only through this potion that Jekyll was able to set that part free. And you're thinking, well, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to let a horrible, beastly character free? Well, possibly because that one's got less of a conscience and less morals, and sometimes it's fun to play with that darker side of yourself. But then when it goes too far, when murder is involved, it can be very hard to be like, suddenly it's like, no, completely, no, that's not me, that's not, gotta get rid of that, stop that. But it can be hard, and the whole idea is that he can't control at the end, I suppose, is that once you step that line, maybe, can you ever get back that innocence you had? I don't know. But it's an interesting story to look at it, interpret it in that way. So I'm glad I read that one little story. And yeah. So I'm actually currently already started. I sort of delayed reading this one because I knew I'd struggle to find a day to sit down and read this. So I'm already on to my next book, which I will talk about when I finished it.